Wavect, the web3 software company that understands what you want.
Hi everyone, welcome at Wavect. Today with Caroline Johnová, who is the Chief Operating Officer at WEYU. She also just got featured in the top 100 women of the future, and she just told me that she is also soon to be launching the so-called WAGMI guide, where she will be acting as the co-founder and CEO. And today we're going to talk about how to actually get your hands dirty in the Web3 space. So how to actually get into the space. And thank you, Caroline, for being here. It's really a pleasure talking with you. And yeah, starting out, I would give you the opportunity to tell us whatever you want, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your passions? What are you working on? And maybe how does your everyday look like?
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me here as well. I'm so happy I can share, all that mentioned before. And essentially, well, my name is Caroline. I'm the COO at WEYU. Pretty much my role is overseeing and managing all rollouts, partner onboarding, and of course, executing communications both internally and externally. And as you mentioned, I'm also a co-founder and CEO of WAGMI Guide, which is an event app, provides a comprehensive overview of Web3 meetups, events, and conferences taking place around the world. And, funny that you mentioned, how did I start my career in the Web3 space? Well, to be honest with you, I never really thought that one day I will end up in tech industry or what my role in the Web3 space could be. I started fully on the creative side in marketing and branding, and things never really had any interest, in tech up until I sort of discovered NFTs and the potential of true ownerships for creators. So yeah, a really big aha moment was when I truly understood what this means for the world and the major possibilities for people worldwide. And I guess this is how it happened.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always a process, right? The space is so incredibly fast moving. It's almost impossible, at least that's my feeling, to keep up with it, right?
Absolutely.
So many areas. Yeah, awesome. Super interesting. So finally, there usually is always some sort of decision, right? Many things happen in life, right? Just as you just said, you just got almost accidentally in that direction. Is that correct, right? At some point, why or what kind of motivation did you get from all that, right? What made you believe in all the crazy things that happen in that space?
Yeah, great question. Actually, I really view Web3 space as sort of that development to create new environments with a really progressive culture beyond real world division of race, gender, religion, and even like politics and geography. And I think that's really uplifting for the current stage of Web2. And that's why I really made that drastic shift to Web3 space and trying to develop that more onwards. I also really think that, one of the most groundbreaking facts for Web3 is that there are not really a qualification barriers worldwide like the industries before. And I'm trying to introduce more and more people, especially young people, into the space, because I think it can really change their lives economically, like mine. So
awesome. Yeah, I think that's mainly caused by the extreme agile nature, right? Because especially in bull markets, I remember last year, for example, people approach you, hey, we want to launch something, NFT collection or so. In 1 week, it has to be ready, or in 2 weeks. It's not a good approach, but
it's actually yesterday you already had to be ready. So
yeah, exactly. No time for CV checking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So very interesting story. Since that you want to get people into Web3, what would you tell someone that just got interested?
Well, I always tell everybody that, and especially the individuals that would like to, start in Web3 space, that if you're a newbie and you really, really want to get truly immersed in this space, you shouldn't be like shy to ask for guidance from the people that are already in. And this is also how I started my journey. I literally just went on LinkedIn, I went on Twitter Spaces, and I just like listened and observed until I soaked like a sponge all the information needed and then started from there. I think the beauty of this space is as well, it's so young. So there is not really anybody who has 10 plus year experience, and that gives us a really big advantage. So I think don't be shy, ask for guidance, and just get out there.
Awesome. Yeah, there's even a saying for that, right? If you don't, prefer to be the fool, right, when asking questions, because that actually empowers you to become some sort of, there are no real Web3 experts out there, right? But it empowers you to become some sort of personality within that space, right? And
exactly,
that's a great mindset. Love it. What I also think is super exciting, especially within the NFT space. I don't have any numbers on that. I don't even know if they exist, right? But for me, at least, it feels like they're already, I would say, 1/3 or even half of, at least within the NFT space and metaverse space, are women. What's your view on that, and why could that be, if it is correct, for sure?
Well, I would say about time. Ladies, let's show up and show them how it's done. No, but honestly, I feel that women have a really big part in this space. And of course, in order to make it the way it should be to all humans in this world, we need both men and women to tap into this. So I always say to everybody around me or my friends that are sort of shy to get in, etc., because it's still a bit of a boys' club. I always say, don't really buy into that belief that you need to actually act like a man to succeed in this space, because that's not really the truth. I think, both men and female have a really unique side to them, and we shouldn't really follow these boundaries in order to fit in somewhere. So like expressing yourself, what your beliefs are, it's always very, very important. And also mainly trust in yourself too, because, even if you're a newbie, you're not really the big founder yet and don't have that label, you shouldn't really, think that you deserve less respect than these big founders are getting. So yeah, trust yourself and express it.
100%. Yeah, I think that egalitarian culture, right, that's what actually empowers people of all genders, whatsoever, right? So if you really don't care about the differences, right, between women and men, for example, then the differences, that's at least what statistics have shown, increase, right? Because women and men can actually use their real competences and actually bring a lot of things to the table that the other gender couldn't at that scale most of the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, like that free space in general, like tech and innovation doesn't really have a gender. So we shouldn't really be placing, like, is there enough men, is there enough females, etc. Like, I think it's just a together effort and, evolving as a world together to get this somewhere better than how the internet used to be. So yeah, hopefully it gets there. I have big visions for this.
Yeah, baby steps count too, right? One step at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm quite sure. As I said, I don't know myself, but are there, or what kind of challenges do you face usually, especially as a woman, when entering?
Oh, well, there's obviously a lot of challenges, not just only as a woman, but, in general, I think with the Web3 space, there is still a lot of questioning around that with the general public. And I think, like in the early days of the internet, there was like a certain understanding that this new technology would be super transformational. And I think that same belief is with the Web3 space too. But of course, also along that, there is a lot of doubt. So, I think the biggest challenge is how do we get the users, the general users, into this space and let them believe that this is something transformational like the rest of us already do. So that would be probably the biggest challenge, but I'm pretty confident that we're step by step getting there as well. And like I mentioned before, just even being a woman, don't be shy and don't be afraid to step up for yourself, because if you have the abilities for this, it will be recognized. And I think we shouldn't try to step back, but actually move forward. So
perfect. Well said. What do you think needs to happen to achieve that? Are there any things you could imagine right now?
To achieve the development of Web3 space?
Yeah, sure, about development itself, but also you said to bring more people into the space, right? To make it more accessible, basically. That's how I understood it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I think with the internet, we became increasingly reliant on the web alongside, and we've seen so many dark sides of it, from data breaches to election interference. And I think it's very clear that the internet is not the safe haven we once thought it was. And I always say to everybody who's sort of reliant or, on the web currently, is imagine that there was a way to build a new, better internet. Imagine that it's more secure, it's decentralized, and it actually has the power to transform the way we interact with each other and create new economy, which I think is a very essential thing to not forget. And again, like I mentioned, I'm still very aware that a lot of people have expressed concerns regarding their children and how much time they spend on social media, for instance. But I'm not really interested in exploring like why it wouldn't work or why we shouldn't do it. I think the Web3 space is a boat that I definitely don't want to miss. And I truly believe that companies and individuals shouldn't miss that either. So, achieving the revenue growth, competitive advantage, improving customer experience, like all that, I think is really, really essential. So how to bring more people in, I think just trying to let them understand this, and hopefully they'll jump on as well.
Love it. Yeah, just jumping on the social media topic, because I find this very interesting in general. I think it doesn't matter how many hours you spend on these platforms. It actually matters how you use them, right? If you just consume and basically waste your time without getting any knowledge out of it, right? Or anything that you could learn, or even better, produce something that creates value, which could give you some sort of leverage in the future. I think that's so incredibly powerful, and so many young people are doing that, and they change their lives, they change the lives of their families, and I think Web3 has the same power to do so, right? Just in a different way. That's super cool.
No, I totally agree with what you said. I think what parents and a lot of people don't realize is, I don't think with any development, I think children will still be on social media, but imagine that your children will actually make money when they're on social media. They can actually own the assets that they interact with. And it's also in interaction wise, I think social media is a very one-sided tool. Like, you can share your experiences, but you can't really live them with other people, right? Like, you can't share that experience actually in real time. I think with Web3, it's going to completely change that narrative. I think we're going to see actually teenagers or even adults to be able to share these moments in real time and actually doing much better socializing wise. So I still think it's a better step forward. So
yeah, 100%. Just think about it. It's the first time in history that you are able to really own something in a digital world. That's, yeah, just imagine how crazy that is. Everything that just, I think that's the moment where most people get caught, right? Where they say, oh, wow, that's crazy, right? You can do so many things from the, I would say, boring use cases, right? From all the legal stuff, right? What we have seen a couple of years ago, and now with all that fancy artistic stuff, where artists create these huge or super interesting and arts in metaverse or buildings, right? Architecture that wouldn't be possible in the real world. It's, yeah, I think we can't really see how many things or what will happen in the next 2 years. I think it's, yeah, mind-blowing.
100%, 100%. And I think also, if we just think about a creator economy, like what that means for people, individuals, brands, like any businesses, imagine you can actually have a passive income because you have an avatar in the metaverse actually, I don't know, doing yoga classes for you. Like all these examples of how we can like increase the economic value like worldwide and not really depending on the location too, which I think is absolutely beautiful because right now, let's be honest, you no longer need like Ivy League degree in order to have a sustainable income and good job. So I see a lot of potential in this. There's so many use cases already that include a huge reach, community engagement, loyalty, like big companies joining in like Ferrari, Nike, even Red Bull, and they already advertise themselves, in the virtual worlds and how to generate awareness and excitement for their products. So yeah, I think the use cases are endless. I think hopefully the virtual customer journey just develops. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear for everybody that the potential is huge. So don't miss the boat and jump in now.
Love it. Yeah, my view on NFTs itself would be somehow like, I think since you just mentioned a couple of big brands entering the space, or that they already entered in the last couple of years, right? So many of them. I think NFTs will be the new websites, right? We'll still have these regular websites out there, right? It's not a replacement, but NFTs will be as common as having a website, right? Where you actually create that customer loyalty. Or, yeah, that's what I think. How do you view that, and how do you think the metaverse, if it is there already or comes at some point, how do you think these two might relate to each other?
So maybe first to clarify, from my opinion, I don't think we're quite there yet. Like, I don't think the metaverse have arrived in the form that it should be in the future. I genuinely view the metaverse, and the Web3 tools sort of as that underlying technology on what we have right now. So, to the point when NFTs will be used broadly with the general public, I think we're not going to call them NFTs anymore. It's just what the technology actually means and will be, as I mentioned, underlying behind different products. So hopefully, as I said, there's other use cases that already include that, like developing virtual customer service channels, like offering digital product experiences, creating personalized avatars for your customers, and the list goes on and on. So I think in terms of value creation, I think this is very clear. And yeah, we just need to develop tools and services that are enough user-friendly and very easy to operate in order to achieve this, which I think everyone is already doing right now. So let's give it, I would say 3 to 5 years when the adoption really happens.
Yeah, UX is definitely the biggest issue still in the space, right? Just got accessible now and people are screaming for it. So that's the perfect time to get your hands dirty on all these topics. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Caroline, for being here. Do you maybe have 3 key takeaways that you would give someone who really wants to start now after this incredible session?
Yeah, sure. So like I mentioned, if you're a newbie, connect with Web3 individuals that are already in the space. First of all, they're all very lovely and very happy to involve more newbies in. So I'm sure they will help. So don't be shy to ask away. Don't ever believe that you are not good enough for it or anything like that, because that's really not true. We're all learning as we go. Every single day I learn personally too, from others, from different podcasts, from different individuals. So really the learning curve is ongoing here. And I think lastly, if you're a brand, then please get involved now. Otherwise, I think it's going to be quite difficult to keep relevant.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Great session. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Sure.
Wavect, the web-free software company that understands what you want.